welcome to CAC TV Morning News. This is the review of the newspaper, trying to see what we have making the headlines around the globe. I am Modut Dominic.
And my name is Oladipo. Good morning to you all.
Good morning, Aladi. How are you?
I'm not bad.
All right, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take the quote for the day and also look at the news making headlines for today. Stay tuned. Yes, welcome back. This is still your morning dew and the newspaper review. So quickly we'll take the quote for the day, and this we're taking from the book of Esther 5:3, and this says, "Then the king asked her, 'What do you want, Queen Esther? What is your request? I will give it to you, even if it is half of the kingdom.' I will give it to you, even if it is half of the kingdom." And this was what Esther was when she was consistent disturbing the king. She was persistent with her request with the king. And the king had no choice at some point to say, "What exactly do you need, woman? Tell me, even if it is half of the kingdom, I am going to give it to you." And the Lord is telling you today, what exactly do you want? What exactly is that thing that is bothering your heart today? Ask him who gives freely. Ask the Lord who gives freely, who is the King of all kings, and he will give to you freely. Do not forget that in everything you don't have to give up on yourself. You have to be consistent. You have to be persistent with your request, in as much as it is in God's will. It is in alignment with God's will, and then you watch him come through for you, and he will grant you your heart desires in Jesus' name. So let's take a look at the newspaper review. First, we have our, we're always starting with the Punch newspaper. So our first story says, "Forex crisis, Naira plunges to 1,025 Naira stroke dollar, job losses, factory shutdown looms. Forex crisis hinders raw material procurement, causes financial problem. SMEs cry independent shutdown, reps probes airlines, schools demanding dollars." The Naira fell further on Tuesday as it exchanged for the dollar at the parallel markets between 105 Naira per dollar and 125 Naira per dollar. Owners of small scale enterprises, Nigeria Employees Consultative Association, and manufacturers who spoke to the Punch expressed concern about the falling value of the Naira, warning that it would lead to the shutdown of factories and attendant job losses. The Naira has maintained a downward trend since the Central Bank of Nigeria allowed a free float of the national currency against the dollar and other global currency in June. It's so sad that we have to come to a point where we are now exchanging dollar for 1,000 plus. It really would affect the small scale business, and I can imagine what they are going through at this point. For something even as at when it was 800, we're still having issues with still complaining that it's affecting the small scale business. So how much more now that it is now for 1,000 plus? Engineer Ola.
Look, you see, this problem has been there for a very long time, and to solve this problem, we have to look inward, and this is what somebody like Muammar Gaddafi has been saying before he died, that can Africa become independent economically? Anytime you go to these banks, the foreign banks like IMF, to take loan, they increase the interest rate of the loan, and once the interest rate is increased, the value of your currency, your local currency, must reduce drastically. Naira now has no purchasing power at all.
At all.
So when the Naira does not have a purchasing power, how do you grow your factories? How do you grow your industry? This is a very big problem. There is no policy, because all those policies they are making in the financial sector is hypothetical. They are not practical, they are not real. The policies cannot work because of the IMF loan. When African country continues borrowing like Nigeria, we continue borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. What do you expect? You become insolvent. You are no longer in business like the footballer who is playing on the field. Once you are down on the football field, you are not in the game. You are not in the game anymore. That is exactly what is happening. So the main problem, we have said it several times on this platform, is that if the exchange rate is not addressed properly, that is the Naira to dollar exchange rate is not addressed properly, you import cars into this country. How many car manufacturers you have in Nigeria? Also, you need to import raw materials, and you need to purchase raw materials with fund, which is you have to change Naira to dollar, and the exchange rate is now above 1,000 Naira. It happened before in Ghana. What they did is that they were able to cancel the zeros in their currency. Yet it's the same thing. African, we have to look inward. We have to produce what we have. We have to develop our raw materials. Now, okay, look at the political terrain in Nigeria today. President Tinubu did not go to school. President Tinubu went to school. There's no rest of mind.
For him to even focus on the governance itself.
Yes. So yes, one kokoro tó ń jẹ́ fún ara ẹ̀ follower. We have internal problem that is eating us dry. There's no way we can grow our industry. Okay, again, somebody is saying that we don't have to be using bitumen again to construct our roads. We should be using cement. Cement is made in Nigeria, but look at the price of a bag of cement today in Nigeria. When Nigeria was importing cement to the country, that time the exchange rate is good, but today look at the exchange rate, over 1,000 Naira, and the cement produced 100% with locally produced raw materials in Nigeria is about 4,000. We need to focus on local technology.
Production.
We need to focus on what can we do locally. If you are bringing in any company, let me say you are bringing in a manufacturing company, like a president went to India and said, okay, there are lots of car manufacturers that are coming to this country to start business. When they are coming, are they coming to transfer technology? All those factories we have built so far, all those industries we have gotten so far, have they transferred technology? No. They only come to reap money from Africa. If you are coming here to Africa to teach me how to produce a mobile phone, and you tell me I have the raw materials to produce mobile phones in this country, and I'm producing the phone with 100% raw materials, I will make money.
I think because that's not part of the dialogue.
Yes, it's not involved. But
if the government is making that part of the dialogue, I'm sure that they know why they are coming in, and they know that they can't leave until that is being done.
That is true. But if you are coming to the country to exploit me, like coming to the country to manufacture biro in my country, biro in my country, and you are importing the plastic that is used to make biro in my country, and you are importing the ink that we used to make biro in the country, what are you doing? And we have these materials in this country, and we are not focusing on them. Ajakuta is now moribund. We don't know what is happening with Ajakuta. So all these problems give back to the inflation in the country today, and give back to the rising in the exchange rate, because we have to depend on them to survive in Africa. Until one African woman will say, oh, I want to depend on myself, I have to go to my farm, plant my yam, plant catch crops and food crops, be able to feed my family and sell some of it, then Africa can become independent. Economically, we are not independent. That's why we have all these problems. Now factories are now shutting down. No more job. When there's no work, how do you earn money?
Of course.
And the local currency is nothing to write home about. 1,050 Naira to $1 exchange rate.
And what's the point working when you're not being paid?
And then we
get paid?
Yes. So many pages uncovered. I think the government has to put up a policy. I've been saying this, that we have to collect all Nigerians in diaspora who are knowledgeable in the aspect of developing Nigerian economy and come back with a practical solution, not all those hypothetical solutions that were given to us by the Westerners that are not working at all in Africa.
Of course.
Yes.
Because if the hometown is better, people wouldn't have any reason to even want to leave.
Because we can no longer use our own local currency to buy anything from the international market. It is useless. We have to sort for dollars to be able to buy something from the international market. It can't continue like this.
That's sad. All right, quickly, let's take a look at the second story that we have. And this says marketers counter FG, insist fuel subsidy is back. Petrol should be over 800 per litre without subsidy, says IP man. PMS queues may worsen. Dealers fault NNPCL availability claims oil marketers. On Tuesday, countered the opposition of the federal government as they insisted that the current pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, should not be less than 800 per litre. If there was no subsidy on the commodity, that is only if there was no commodity on it, it shouldn't be more than 800 naira per litre. So petrol currently sells at between 580 naira per litre and 617 naira per litre, depending on the part of Nigeria where you are purchasing it from. Okay, so on Monday, the group chief executive officer NNPCL Malikai Kahari denied the reintroduction of petrol subsidy and claimed that the pocket of queues by motorists observed in petrol stations across the country stemmed from hiccups in product distributions from the south to the north and not a lack of supply. Okay, subsidy whatsoever, we are also okay. That was a statement. So further, it says that we will sell to the market, and we understand why the marketers are unable to import. We hope that they do it very quickly, and these are some of the interventions the government is doing. There is no subsidy, says Harry. Okay. Also, we also could see that in every fuel station is also being shut down. This morning when I was coming, I could hear the motorists complaining bitterly that the filling stations are being shut down. They can't even get fuel to buy. So even the little they are able to get, that is why they have increment in price. Where you're supposed to pay 500 naira, you're ending up paying 800 naira because they couldn't get fuel. So they have to maximize or minimize or maximize whichever it is, whatever they could get. Okay, so how did we get to this, and why are we going back and forth on issues that we know that is something that we can get a hold of? If they are saying that there is no fuel subsidy on the petrol price, why is there shutdown? Why do we have scarcity of it? Because of course, when these filling stations fuel stations are shut down, then there is scarcity, obviously. So what exactly is going on here? Let me hear your view, please.
Now you see, if we don't understand the economy of the nation, we can't be able to project. NNPC, the organ of federal government, that is the mouthpiece of government on petroleum products, PMS, diesel and kerosene. NNPC is saying there is no subsidy, but the marketers are saying there is subsidy. It is now that it's becoming clear to all of us that people have been exploiting us, people that we call marketers of petroleum product in the country. People have been behind the sabotage of building or making sure that our refineries are working. But now everything is coming to light now. NNPC is saying that because of distribution, and you cannot distribute without transporters, and these transporters are part of private sectors dealing in oil and gas. they can take from depot, from NFPC depot to pump stations across the nation. But if there is a discrepancy, or if there is a difficulty in transporting these oil products to various stations, we will not know. They may say, oh, the government is paying subsidy, but when the government is saying we are not paying subsidy, in governance, not everything must come into the open. You are ruling this country. I don't know how you put the food on the table, like at home, your own house. Your children, the little ones, don't know how you put food on the table. What they know is that mommy, I'm hungry.
Food has to be ready.
Daddy, I'm hungry. Food is ready. But the government is giving us fuel, and it's saying there's no subsidy, and we have fuel to buy. These marketers are coming and saying, oh, it's supposed to be 800 naira per litre if you are not adding subsidy. If the government is adding subsidy and they are telling us we are not adding subsidy, I want to know.
Who is lying? Who is fooling who?
The government is saying there is no subsidy. The private sector is saying there is subsidy. As long as you have fuel, that is what matters to us. And the government has told us that by December the refinery will be working. We are now in October. In 2 months' time, a month's time or 2 months' time will be in December. Then we will know our fate. But I don't understand why it is we that will come out to say the government is not doing this. And when government is making effort, we'll come back again and say, no, government is not doing anything. So I don't understand what is the problem with this fuel subsidy. They are saying fuel subsidy is back. If it is back, that means the government cannot do it. Over time, we'll be able to know. But now you are saying it is back because there is scarcity. Most times we see artificial scarcity in our petrol stations. Most times they hoard these products, they don't sell it.
Of course.
We've seen that in this country. They say, okay, because there's going to be increment in price. Government has not told us, let us increase the fuel pump price. No. But you are now agitating that the price will increase. So you are no longer selling.
It's just so sad that in this part of our country, we always wait for every slight opportunity to extort the masses. They can't just wait to hear that, oh, there will be increment in there will be increase in fuel, so that they can increase their price of selling. I won't be surprised if they have fuel, but they just don't want to sell because they are hoarding it. That is what they do. Okay, oftentimes you find out that this is what we face every now and then. Tell me if we are also faulting in the little that we are doing, how much more the government, and then we keep blaming the government for every little thing, also forgetting that we are also part of this problem. And I think it's something that the government needs to really step into and make sure that this doesn't escalate more than it is, because if it continues like this, people may end up crying, and then we'll have more queues, and then we'll start having dramas of having people move here and there without having a means of transportation. And that's not what we need at this time, because we are going through a lot currently. The masses are going through a lot currently, so it won't be nice for that to also be added to it. So looking at the next story that we have still on the Punch newspaper, this says that EFCC arrests 2 suspected internet fraudster at Scales residence. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission said they arrested 2 suspected internet fraudsters at the residence of musician John Jeng Jeng, popularly known as Skills. The commissioner made this known in a statement shared on the X, which is formerly known as Twitter, on Tuesday. The statement said operatives of the Lagos Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on Tuesday, October 10, 2023, arrested 2 suspected internet fraudsters at the house of fraudsters at F10 Victoria Crescent for Lekki. Okay, the suspects are Udemba Chukwemeka, aka Jody, and Jamal Jamiu Onoshola, which is also popularly known as Jamal, were arrested at the residence of a musician, which is popularly known as Skill. So these people are known to be suspected fraudsters, internet fraudsters.
I have to blame the man called Skill, because they were arrested in your house. If the story is real, which I know it is real, EFCC has come to your house and they have raided 2 people that are doing the internet, they are internet fraudsters. And this is what is jobs out there. But these people that are into internet fraud, they spoil the image of the country. Anywhere you go, if you go out of the country, I mean, if sometimes you are very ashamed to say, I'm in Nigeria. Where are you from? You tend to say, I'm from Ghana. In those days when you go out of the country and you see people working and earning good salaries, they are Nigerians and Ghanaians too. But today, when you go anywhere, you see Nigerians, they don't want to work. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you are going to your daily job to earn a living. You see some of them, they wake up around 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and they are the well dressed, best dressed. This is spoiling the image of the country. In China, Chinese people are working workaholic. Nigerians used to do that in those days. But nowadays, Nigerian youths, most of them, this is what they do.
Looking for a quick alternative.
At this position, we are working hard. You are becoming popular in the musical industry in the country. You should not allow something like this to be happening in your environment, especially in your abode where you live. It's not a good thing at all.
It's hard. Okay, quickly we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the further stories that we have from Vanguard. Stay tuned. Please don't. Yes, welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned to your CSC TV, and we are still on the Morning Dew newspaper review. So we're taking a look at the stories that we have from the Vanguard newspaper. So the first story says, I didn't forge my certificate, says Atiku, former vice president and 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has dismissed speculation surrounding his secondary school certificate. Atiku, who spoke through one of his media aides, Chief Dele Momodu, clarified what appeared to be a discrepancy in his secondary school certificate. Momodu gave the clarification in a post on his X, formerly known as Twitter, account on Tuesday. He explained that the clarification became necessary following allegation of forgery against Atiku Abubakar's by member of the All Progressive Congress Party, also known as APC. He noted that some members of the ruling party had questioned the name Sadiq Abubakar in Atiku's WAEC certificate as against his other names. Momodu said that he forwarded the accusations to the former vice president, who also provided an answer for the discrepancies. So that's them. You can check further of that story in the Vanguard newspaper. So, there's this saying that says when you're pointing one finger to someone, just be assured that the other four fingers are pointing back at you. Okay, so we've been having this back and forth story in the court, Supreme Court, and then outside the country over the certificate of our president Bola Tinubu, how Atiku has been taking him to court. So now, trust Nigerians, they will always dig out things. Now it is back to him. They're saying that he has two different names. You have Sadiq Abubakar in your in his WAEC certificate, and a different name in the other one. So what exactly is now going on? Now we are no longer paying attention, and for me it's sad. Why? I feel so bad because they are not, this man has just all of this, he cannot even focus on what is happening right here, and now it is back to him.
No, you see, the beginning of your educational qualification in Nigeria is your WAEC. And if you sit for an exam, because by the time you sit for WAEC, you are let me say, you are matured in mind. You know what you are doing, because now you want to sit for your WAEC. And then in those days in Nigeria, with WAEC, it's not for you to build a family, to start up your career. Even anywhere in the world, the fundamental educational system anywhere in the world is your O level. And if you have a certificate at O level, and the name is Sadiq Abubakar, and at the university level, when you are graduating, is Atiku Abubakar, and on your other credentials are Atiku Abubakar. And if you know you have this in your cupboard, why are you pointing accusing finger to others? It's a matter of in Yoruba land, that's what they call shago. Shago is a kind of basket for bottle. Shago is a kind of basket of bottle. And when if you have wine, even in abroad too, we have a very big one, they put it in a basket, that is a bottle basket, so that it does not touch the ground, and it easily does not fall off and does not break. So when Shago is now saying that bottle is a drunk, then the bottle will now say, Shago, why are you calling me a drunk? We are both guilty of the same offense. When you have such thing in your cupboard, because the reason of swearing affidavit is that maybe you have 3 names, and then 2 names were used, you want to add a 3rd name. But most, you can look at it, Sadiq, Atiku, they are different names entirely. But this, you have to go as far as America to say somebody forged his certificate. Now people are now digging you. You are coming up to say, I did an affidavit, that is, I added this to my name after my secondary school education. Well, it's an open sore that everybody now knows what is going on in the country. This is political war, battle between these titans. I don't want anybody to sweep me away. We are not concentrating on what is the problem of this country. Now we are saying Nigeria is broke. The economy is in shambles. What led to that fact? I want to tell you one thing. Outside this, the federal government is probing the activities of CBN for the past years. Many pages uncovered. Many else will go. People are coming out now to attack the presidency because of this step. Nobody in the country has ever had the liver to probe CBN. That how have you been managing spending Nigerian wealth, the Nigerian public wealth? Now it is being questioned, a very big capital question mark, and people are coming out different types of weapons to fight the government. Let us see where this will into. I know Nigeria will prove further for us to know more things.
A lot is going to be revealed.
Anybody who lives in a glass house must not throw
stones. Yes.
And if you throw stone in the market, sometimes it might eat one of your relatives.
All right, so we'll take a look at the next story, still on Vanguard, and this says Japa resident lives in cemetery streets as rain soar in Canada. Many people are experiencing homelessness as housing prices and rents have increased in Canada's real estate market. Reports said tens of thousands have started living on the streets of Canada, which remains a top destination for immigration and refugees. According to a new study in September, one, one in two homeless people in Quebec can be located in rural areas of the eastern province rather than primarily in Montreal, um, as was previously the case. Indian Times reported that in a Quebec government assessment, nearly one in every four homeless people ended up on the street after being evicted from housing. Okay, so further story, we also have that the report revealed that some people have been living in temporary camp in the cemetery in Grandy, Granby, a town of 70,000 people, 80 kilometers, 50 miles east in Montreal. That is one of the affected persons. Danny Brudios has been living in a temporary camp in a cemetery in Granby for months after evicted from the apartment, which was also shared with his girlfriend in June. It's so sad that this Japas this Japa syndrome is really causing a lot of things, and I feel bad for some of these people who are having to remain homeless because of the price in everything. And I think this is not just in Nigeria that the price home increments in rents has been affecting everybody. So it's basically in every country. So if you're not a citizen of that country, it will be so hard for you to survive, and that is what these people are currently facing right now. Engineer Ola, over to you.
Usually, there must be an understanding before you decide to travel out of the country. People do make lots of mistakes. Some of them are enjoying economically in Nigeria. I know of a family who sold his house, his company, and then relocated to Canada. You see, one thing in abroad that we must understand from the battle between President Tinubu and Atiku is that they don't worship certificates in the Western world. They worship the skill. They acknowledge the skill you have and what you can do.
Deliver.
What you can do and what you can deliver. And I want to say one thing again, that in abroad, people don't have one discipline. You see a man, when I was in the college, there are lots of students, they will study, they will have their BSc in electrical engineering. Some will have Bachelor of Engineering in electrical engineering, or BTech, Bachelor of Technology electrical engineering. They will go back again to another university or to the same university for another course in electrical electronics or in civil engineering, because they know in today's structure, labor market,
You have to have an idea of
you have to have an idea of everything. Learn more and more about less and less until you know something about everything. You must know a bit of physics, a bit of geography, a bit of chemistry. That is the main reason why we have to revert back to your WAEC, where you have to study about 8 subjects, more than 8 subjects before you select the 8th one you want to follow. But that does not say you don't have knowledge in other subjects. If you are going to Canada, in Canada, a mechanical a technician, that is, let me say, a local mechanic can have a better job in Canada than somebody who does not have any profession. You are a graduate of history. You are going to Canada to do what? You will not have a place to stay. Yes, the guy that his name is being mentioned is that the guy was staying with his girlfriend. And what do you think will happen? You are in another man's country, in Canada, and you are living with a citizen, and you are living in a house, and you are jobless. What do you expect? Even I want to say that even in Nigeria, are you seeing many people are not homeless in this country?
Of course.
Many Nigerians are squatting. People will come from interior, maybe Oyo State, Ogun State, Ekiti State. They come to Lagos and squat with their friends. That is before they start earning living. It's all over the world. thing I have to say on this is that if you are going abroad, either Canada or anywhere, make sure you have handwork, your handwork. In London, tailors are making money.
Of course. Hairstylists are making money.
Hairstylists are making money.
They're doing well.
They are doing well.
Those with handcrafts.
Yes, papas are making money. But you are going to Canada because I have a PhD in history. Of course, you can be employed to teach African studies in the university. But are you going to teach the European history? No. So you have to make sure you prepare yourself very well.
To fall back on.
Fall back on. Many Nigerians are in Ghana, roaming the streets, doing nothing. Many Nigerians are in Cotonou, roaming the street, doing nothing. The same thing in Canada. The same thing in Europe. You see them roaming the street, doing nothing. They can't come back home because they borrowed money to leave the country. They can't come. So in Nigeria today, people, you don't have to study only one discipline. Yes, if you are, I've seen somebody who's an electrician. The same person, if there's a liberal job, you say, okay, I can make blocks, so he works there. So when he goes to a construction site to work, you see him turning to about 4 jobs, and you earn his money. So the world is no longer after your education. No. If you are going to anywhere in Europe or in America, or if you are going to Asia, make sure you have your handiwork, your skill. If you rely on your certificate in Sabodenje, you are on your own.
You know, when I was reading the story, it took my mind back to thinking those who have sold their property, those who were doing well, not even selling their property, those who were doing well, who had a job that was going well for them here, and then they now, resign, sell, get to borrow money and resign and then go back. If they have to be part of this, it would be a shame because they can't come back. So they will have to make sure that they do whatever it takes. If it means to go and clean the cups, if it means to go and wash the floor, if it means to go and live in the toilet, just because they can't come back, because that would be a lot of shame. So why do we have to wait to a point where it gets to that before we start thinking of having to invest in ourselves? They keep saying this day in, day out. Invest in yourself. It is very important. Okay, let's quickly take a look at this story from The Sun, and this says that Tinubu backs Umahi over war against contractors. President Bola Tinubu has backed Minister of Works Dave Umahi on plans to use concrete for constructions of road across the country against what he called a gang up by some road constructors opposed to the policy. He made the disclosure to State House correspondents after he met with President Bola Tinubu at Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. According to him, some contractors, with the backing of what he called enemies within, have ganged up to frustrate the policy, and President Tinubu has given him the go-ahead to resist the blackmail and do what is right for the benefit of Nigerians. Okay, so he also said there are some elements within that are also fighting me, who are also benefiting from the system, and that is the greatest problem we have, and I just can't pretend. I will flush those elements out and send them to ICPC to handle them, because nobody can hold this country to ransom. So I am giving them the last chance to conform so we can help Mr. President to reset the country. And so further of that story you can also find from the Punch. For me, like Engineer Ola mentioned earlier, that it's good that we are now beginning to pay attention to our local products, that seeing that we want to construct roads that are very good. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, okay, that constructing the road with cement is actually very good, because that would it lasts longer than what we are facing right now. And it pains me that we have road constructors who do things for what they will gain at the end of the day. They don't do things based on the season. I know that road construction was supposed to take place when it is dry season, not when it is rainy. But they wait for when it is rainy season, especially at my end. Oh my goodness, when it is rainy season, that's when you see them start construction. And then before you know, the rain is flushing out, is also making it messy. Before you know, after 2 years, we are back to what it is. the road is dilapidated again, then you start thinking of bad roads, talking about bad road, how to restructure, how to, making sure that they keep extorting from the government, and that is so wrong. So if you're coming up with this, for me it's a good to go thing, and I'm really glad that the president is supporting him on this, and I look forward to making to and praying that God also help him to flush out all the gang up, like he said, enemies within, and also help him make sure that this is a welcome idea. Engineer Ola.
You see, it has to every law in Nigeria we have a but, and to every project in the country there's always a but, a should more. No, when you are talking about road construction, there are categories of road construction. One aspect of it is that most of the contractors are not qualified. Most of them are politicians. And if you give the job or the contract of road construction to a politician, what do you expect? Not a bona fide or qualified personnel. The first thing you have to do is you have to design, okay, I want to construct the road from Lagos to Ibadan. You have to structure it. What are the materials for structuring? What are the steel I want to use? What alloy I want to use that will last longer? What is the soil texture? So
how long will it take?
What is the soil texture? Can I construct road on this pathway, or do I need to erect beams because of the soil texture? Can this soil withstand this concrete I want to lay? This will be taken into consideration. We have Nigerian Society of Engineers who are there to approve, or who are there to certify that this man is qualified to be an engineer, road construction. Under road construction, we have structural engineering. These are stages that these people don't consider those things before they construct road. Of course, when we say, okay, we want to construct road, we are giving to a contractor, and contractor will submit the quotations with all the materials and everything constructed very well. Then supervision. Government, you are giving out contract to somebody, you are not supervising the work. That these are the materials that is quoted in your quotation that will be used. These materials, are you surely using these materials? What is the diameter or the thickness or the strength of the steel, the iron beam you are using to construct your beam? So when all these things are not taken into consideration, the road will not last. And again, you must have a way to service the roads. When you construct the road from Lagos, if you go to Lagos to Ibadan road now, sometimes along the road, in the middle of the road, you see some potholes. When were they constructed? Maybe not until 1 or 2 years, and you still have potholes on the road because they do not follow what they quoted, and there's no supervision on that. Many countries of the world today, they do their road construction. If you go to Turkey, the Turkish are the laborers doing the road. Go to China, go to India. I'm not talking about European countries, but here we bring in a foreign contractor. We partner with this foreign contractor to invest and siphon money. And what happens to the road? They will say, Obasanjo, look at the road, Lagos to Abeokuta, that Obasanjo constructed, that Amosu constructed. What is wrong with the road now?
Like he was the one who left his Aso Rock to come and...
You give road construction to a medical doctor. He will get the contract. What will he do? He will sell the contract to the highest bidder. And that highest bidder may not qualify. So what Umahi is saying now is, okay, if you can follow it to the end, and you can monitor that, okay, you are giving a contract to somebody to construct a road of this mileage, okay, supervision. You must have another company to supervise.
Exactly, that's where I was going.
So that company will give you final report.
Not the same set of people who are constructing.
Yes. Now you are talking about using cement. Again, you have to consider the cost of cement. You have to consider when you want to use concrete. If you look at Julius Berger when they were constructing road, Lagos Ibadan Express Road, what they did was that they use sand, because we have different types of sand. They use sand, they apply cement, layers of cement before they put bitumen to construct the road. So the road will have a very solid foundation. If you go to the western part of Nigeria, let's talk about Ekiti, Osun State. There are still some roads that were constructed during the time of Obafemi Awolowo. Look at when he ruled as a premier in the western region, and look at the period of time of today. That is the time lag. That is the period of years between. The number of years between those periods, and the roads are still usable till today, and they did not use concrete for those roads. You see, it's not the material that is of paramount importance. It is the design. How you designed the road, and what are the material used for the design. And then again, there's another major problem in this country that is rampant in Lagos. Ministry of Works will construct road. 5 years after, a Ministry of Communication will come under the name of NITEL or whatsoever. They will break the road, lay their cable, and the road is not the same again. The road will be spoiling from those ends. After 3 months, local government will come and they say they want to erect some pipes. They break the road again. All those things must be taken into consideration from the initial start of. If you want to construct the road, you have to talk to all other ministries. Ministry of Communication, you want to construct road from Lagos to Ibadan. Do you have any cable you want to lay for the next 5-10 years? Okay, yes, give us space. They will not construct a gutter, underlay gutter to lay all those cables. If those things are done, we could be able to maintain our roads.
All right, thank you. I need to cut you there. Okay, so lastly, let's take a look at the last story that we have before we call it a wrap. Okay, the last story says over 260,000 people displaced in Gaza, says UN. The United Nations has said that over 260,000 people have been forced to flee their homes in the Gaza Strip as heavy Israeli bombardment from the air, land and sea continues to hit the Palestinians' enclave. It added that the fierce fighting has left thousands dead on both sides since Hamas launched a surprise assault on Saturday, spurring Israel's reprisal bombing campaign. So we also have further of that story. Okay, more than 1,000. Going further, we have more than 1,000 people have been killed in Israel in the worst attack. Okay, which is the worst attack in the country's 75 years history. While Gaza officials have reported 900 people killed since the strike began. And also 560 have been so severely damaged from their uninhabitable OCHA said, citing the Palestinian Authority. So that is on the story of the Israel that has been happening so far, and we have so many record for loss of life, and it's been so sad that the masses are suffering for what the government have not been able to come to a concrete agreement to resolve. And looking at it, it is not something that was supposed to even escalate to this point, just because they refuse to have an amicable dialogue to make sure that this does not escalate to this point. So, Engineer, lastly, before
you see, the world at large must provide a solution, a permanent one, to this problem. The enmity between the Israelites and our neighbors has been in the system for a very long time, and I think the modern people of today should be able to provide a solution to that problem. Now, when you look into this matter holistically, you see what Hamas did. Many innocent lives were lost. There was a desert carnival. Many people died. Almost over 1,000 Israelis are dead. The same thing today. Now there's a very big retaliation. So when you look at it and you want to sum up a summary on it, you see that this thing is leading to a religious war between the Israelites and their Muslim neighbors. Some of them too are Christians. But what the world is pronouncing today is not a solution to this problem, because this problem will come over again if there is no permanent solution. Let there be a state of Israel that is there already, that is existing now, and let there be a state of Palestine. If there's demarcation between the two of them, what is causing this fight? If you look deep into this matter, it's what you can solve. Because when you now say, oh, the battle should go on, what we are scared of now in Africa, in our continent, is because we are not looking for a third world war. It's a wind that will not blow anybody any good. But the way America is talking, America is supporting retaliation. I'm not saying the Israelites should not retaliate. I'm not saying the Israelites should not fight back. But what I'm saying is that we should look at it peacefully and provide a solution, a lasting one to this problem. The world power should step into the matter and provide solution, because there are 3 things we have to be scared of in this world. One is when there's outbreak of fire, you don't know where it will end. And when there's a pandemic, you don't know what will end the pandemic. And when there is fight, you don't know where the fight, where the fight and how it will end. No, because now with modern military equipment that's available in the world, this world is not. We may not have a winner at all. Many things, many civilizations will be destroyed.
Exactly.
There's a war in existence in Europe. If not that Nigeria was very careful enough, there would have been a catastrophe in Niger if ECOWAS had stepped into the matter. Now there's a very big war in the Middle East. And what do you think is going to be the consequential effect? Food and technology cannot come again from Asia, especially from China, if there's war in the Middle East. There will not be any way to come out from India, from Pakistan, there's war in the Middle East. So we are just praying to God that the world leaders should solve this problem.
All right, this is where we call it a day on today's newspaper review on Cactv, The Morning Dew. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you so much for always making sure that you are tuned in to listen to us. Feel free to follow us on all our social media and drop your comments, questions, and also make sure that you call us up for any view that you want, any coverage, distributions for whatever you want us to come and cover. We are always ready and available to make ourselves there whenever you need us. So I am Modus Dominic, and I'm signing out with Engineer Ola.
My name is Ola Oladipo. Be Nigeria.
Bye Nigeria.
Let's support the mission. Let's build Nigeria together.
All right, have a lovely day ahead.